everyone, and welcome to this episode of Sidestagewithsoph, the show that takes you behind the safety curtain, behind the scenes, and shows you what it really takes to get a show up on its feet. From cuts to costume fittings, sits probes to star ratings, tech to fine-tuning, we will discuss it all here with your host, Soph. Our guest today is someone I am buzzing to share with you all, and she's been in some of my favourite shows of the last few years. She's been on the barricades, balconies and bases, been to Greece, Turkey, Durham, Northampton and beyond, starring in shows such as Les Mis, Evita, I Should Be So Lucky, Mamma Mia, Kinky Boots, Military Lives, to name only but a few. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Jess Daley!
That was one hell of an intro. I think that's one of the best intros I've ever had. I bloody love it.
Thank you. Jess, thank you for joining me today. How is your day or week going so far?
To be honest, it's the first week that I've not had like crazy rehearsals or anything like mad going on during the week. So I'm finding myself with more time during the day, and I'm like, how do I fill my time? This is what it feels like to just be in a normal schedule. So I'm kind of trying to reground myself and kind of recalibrate and adjust to being back, especially in London, because I've constantly been touring around. Mm-hmm. It's nice to be in one place for a bit and just like put my feet on the ground and kind of bed in. So today, I mean, all I've done is I got up and I played a bit of PlayStation because I'm a bit of a nerd sometimes, and made some food and then went to the gym. Oh! And now I'm here, I'm in the dressing room, ready for warm-up, 6 o'clock. Yeah, okay. Chilling.
Slay. So before we get into all our nitty-gritty bits, we just say that like when we were discussing how we do an interview, we realised that we had two like prominent sections that we wanted to go. So we are actually doing 2 episodes here today. Very exciting. Mm-hmm. So the first one, we're going to discuss kind of like being with production from its very start. Jess has been in a few like original casts, like originating roles. So we're going to be talking about like being in workshops for shows, creating roles, working with Debbie Isitt, of course, and then the ins and outs of everything in between, because that's what we like to talk about here on Sidestagewithsoph. But before we get to that bit, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask every guest. It's the first question I ask is, what's the biggest part of your pre-show routine that isn't warm-up, that you find gets you ready, like, personally?
I like a bit of I'm a bit hooked on tensing at the minute, but that's like kind of mid-show as well. It depends. Sometimes I have a mid-show tensing at the interval, but today I've got it beforehand because I feel like I need it. It's got like, it sounds really like, but it's got like L-theanine and like lion's mane and everything. So it just kind of calms me down because undiagnosed ADHD over here, like, can't say. So yeah, this kind of calms me down and grounds me. But I think, what else? Yeah, I love a tensing. That's good. And I guess like I do a bit of a journal. I like to journal a little bit sometimes. I haven't today, actually. That's really bad. But that's a habit that I like to keep because it just empties my brain before. Well, I like to do it at the beginning of the day, really. Like when I'm feeling a bit like overwhelmed, I like to empty my brain onto a page, and I just use it to kind of diffuse like millions of thoughts that are going around in my head. So a journal, a tensing. And sometimes the gym, actually. I do find that the gym, and I hate this because I sound like such a gym bro, but like I've only just started getting back into it properly and like trying to really enforce the habit, especially with the show schedule. And I do find that I have a better show if I go to the gym beforehand. So I think I'm really going to try and hone in on that a bit more.
We should also mention Jess is currently in Kinky Boots in the London Coliseum.
Yes, I am. Woo!
I was obviously very lucky to see you as well in Kinky Boots in March. It's a great show.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
That, actually.
That's all right.
So now we'll get into like the proper questions now. But something I feel goes under the radar in the development shows is workshops and stuff, which obviously I suppose a lot of them is probably because they have to go under the radar. Some of them can be quite secret. Military Wives is one that you have been a part of for quite some time, and it's obviously no lie how much I loved that show. Yeah. I literally remember watching the BBC News coverage of it, of the Feel My Love scene, and I was already bawling watching that. I text Freya and I was like, girl, we're going to cry. So being Jen, Jenny from the shop, came under the gorgeous guidance of Debbie Isitt. I was wondering, how did you first come to work for Debbie, or with Debbie, or...
How did I come to, so I first met Debbie actually when I did the final workshop showing of An Officer and a Gentleman at Curve in Leicester. She came to watch that, and I met her via George Dyer, our good friend George Dyer,
yes,
musical supervisor, orchestrator extraordinaire. And I think I met her via him and a producer. So yeah, I met her first then, and I'd auditioned. I feel like I'd auditioned for her previously. No, you know what? Backtrack that. That's the second time I met her. I think the first time I met her is I auditioned for Nativity.
Ah.
The OG cast, actually, I think, way back in April 2017. And I didn't get the job because I didn't go to the final because I was in Dubai with Greece.
Ah.
And they were like, no, it's fine. You don't need to go to the final, whatever. And I just remember then speaking to the producer, Jamie Wilson, out in Dubai, because he flew out for some reason. And he said, why didn't you go to your final? I went, well, everyone said it was fine. They had everything they needed on tape. And like, at that time, Jamie said to me, she likes to like see what she's got. She's very visual. Like, she likes to see who she's working with in the room. And like, from working with her now, I know that. Like, she's very in the room. So I always regretted not going to that final. Because I don't know, who knows, I might have maybe got a Nativity, I might not have. But that was the first time that I met her. And then our paths crossed again at the workshop for Officer and a Gentleman. And then I think years later, I was working with George Dyer at the time. I can't remember what on, maybe Billy Elliot, maybe. And he said, they're doing a second workshop of I Should Be So Lucky. What at the time was called Never Gonna Give You Up. Yeah. He said they're doing a second workshop, so I'll try and get you in there. And luckily got me in there. And I actually workshopped Ella.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. So we only had Act 1. I think there was only Act 1 really, and then we developed Act 2. So a lot of the dialogue from Act 2.
It's
me. Yeah. So that was really fun, because then obviously I went on to play Brittany.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like, see, you could workshop one character also, and then maybe not be 100% right for what they're looking for, and then kind of slot in somewhere else. So I always find that really interesting as well.
Yeah. That was actually kind of my next question, was like just to delve a bit into Military Wives, or like even I Should Be So Lucky, now that you obviously in the workshop for that, but like in your experience with being in workshops, like how does it feel to build the show from the ground up? Like, do you get the bones of a script? Do you do like I'm sure some workshops would like start being like, oh great, this works. You come out the other end and it's like, whoa, that's completely different, still works. That kind of way. Like, yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you feel being in that workshop environment?
So working with Debbie Isitt is the most unique of experiences. Anyone will tell you that. I love her so much. It's hilarious. Because, well, not hilarious because, but the process is like, the way that Debbie works is, and this stems from like, I think her experience in the film world as well, like with Nativity, is a lot of it was improvised, which is actually like genius when you're working with kids in Nativity and you're just like, this is a situation, go, and then they come out with absolute golden nuggets. I can see like why that is so exciting to kind of take on into future working processes. But yeah, basically Debbie has this vision. She will have a vision and she'll know where we need to get to, and she'll know exactly what she wants. So she'll be like, this is a scenario, go. Because she likes to hear things in people's own interpretation and in their own way. So in that way, she really trusts the actors that she has in the room to kind of create what she's after with guidance. And I mean, the reason why I say it's hilarious is because it's the way that Debs is. She's fantastic. She's just like, no, stop, that's boring. Go back, go, and again. No, bored. Like, and it is such a unique way of working. But I think, like, the first workshop that I did with her, like, when I did I Should Be So Lucky, I was absolutely terrified. And I think, like, that, like, it, because I'd never done it before, I was like, whoa, like, what is this? Yeah. But then moving on, when we then went into rehearsals, I kind of got a bit more comfortable with the way of working. And actually, once you get into that way of working, it's actually really fun and really exciting. And yeah, you just want to bring the goods for her, because she's a legend. Like, she is, and she's the most gorgeous human. She's like, I just have nothing but respect for her. But it can be so but then it's just because you want to do so well, and you want to say the right thing, and you want to create this thing, because her brain is just fantastic. Like, the creativity is off the scales. So yeah, it's exciting. It's very, very exciting. It's thrilling. I love her.
So the next question is kind of similar, but obviously when I approached you asking you to do this, thank you very much, by the way. You said that, like, you like talking about processes and stuff. What is it about processes, like, that you like about a show? I suppose, you know, everyone has rehearsals, everyone puts a show on, but, like, what is it about the process itself that you like to talk about and stuff? Like,
I think, like, we're portraying, like, when you go deep, we're portraying, like, a character's emotional journey. And I think, like, that's part and parcel of the job, is to do the deep dive in and, like, really try and figure out who this person is and what are the common, I suppose, like, for me, I always look at the common, like, what I have in common with the character and where I can relate, and then I'll look at the emotional journeys of the character and what they go through. So, for instance, like, if a character is going through grief, for instance, like, how can we, like, the human experiences that we have are no different to what a character would have. So it's about drawing upon the commonality. That makes sense?
Yeah.
The parallels. Like, part and parcel of getting a role and doing a job is to do the deep diving on a character and to explore the character and kind of exhaust it for everything it's worth.
Yeah.
So that then you can kind of do all of that preparation, acknowledge those things, learn those things about that character, because once you do learn something about a character, there's no going back. Like, once your awareness is there of something within that character, there's no going back. So then that informs how you then take that on stage. And I think you have to do all of that preparation, do all that deep diving, all that digging, all that. Like, I write sometimes monologues from my characters, like, in character, just exploring different things and opinions on different things in the pieces, and then I'll go, right, cool, I've acknowledged that, and then I'll just go on stage having that information in my head, informing what is going on in my body. Because also, I think, like, your body doesn't know the difference between acting and going through something for real. And I think that's something that and I think that's why it's really important to, when you're playing something heavy, like if you're in a heavy show, that you really have to, and I do think this should be taught in drama schools equally, as much as connecting to a character, how you can disconnect from a character, because sometimes the commonalities between the character and yourself can be so similar. And it's hard to differentiate whether something's a trait of you or a trait of the character. And I think people that, like, method act as such do a lot of that and stay in that. And I don't know how people do that, because that would drive me insane. But I think I think we should be taught how to disconnect in that way, because if you're going through something on stage, like, for instance, in Evita, I was dying every night on stage. Your body doesn't know the difference between you fake dying Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
what
yeah,
you put me
yeah.
through here. It's like traumatic. It can be quite traumatic. And people are like, it's musical theatre. I'm like, yeah, but like still, we're actually using more of our body
Yeah,
in
yeah.
musical
And
theatre
like your
than,
emotions has to go into it, like.
yeah, and like singing is somatic, like, and I think like it can be so, it can be so consuming, like, and I don't think people truly kind of acknowledge just how much of a toll it can take on your body.
Yeah, because like you have to portray to the audience as well. Like as you say with Evita dying, it can't be just like, ha, lol, I die now. But it's like, no,
No,
like
you're
she
in
had to
there.
go through all this. Yeah, like she's
Yeah.
actually gone, you know?
Yeah, it's the same with Military Wives. Like, obviously, there's a lot of heavy subject matter within that. And especially with the way that Debbie works, how, like, she likes you to interpret it as yourself. So, like, when you've created a character from scratch, it's just kind of like, how much is this character and how much is this me? And
Yeah, yeah,
where is the line? Where is the line between fiction and non-fiction?
yeah,
And I think that's what can be difficult about creating something that is original and that draws from your own experience. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like kind of with that, I have like a question written down. Like, were you aware of the original story of Military Wives? Like, and were you able to be? I was going to ask, were you able to be in the room and be like, I think she'd say this, which I think we've covered, but like,
Yeah, I was aware of the original story. My mum loved it when it was all going on. She was like well into it. She was watching the documentary, stuff like
yeah,
that. And I didn't at the time. I think I was much younger at the time. I was probably off at youth theatre doing like crazy
yeah,
stuff. But I remember her watching it at the time, and I remember them getting the Christmas #1, and I remember them performing at the Royal Albert Hall. So when it came to the workshop and hearing about the workshop, I jumped at the chance because it's like abso-friggin-lutely.
yeah,
Like it is such a wonderful story. It's about real people, and that's what I love so much. Like that's what draws me to a lot of projects, is like, especially like the working class type projects, because it's like reminds me of people from home and
yeah,
community, and I'm so attracted to shows that contain that in that way. And I was like, oh my god, the chance to like represent
yeah.
a whole contingent of amazing women in particular, absolutely.
Oh
Of course
gosh.
of course I'm gonna do it. So yeah, it was so fun, Military Wives, because we did literally go into a room and we knew that obviously the orgy story, we knew that the film had come out and that there was that kind of interpretation of it. And then Debbie had done so much research. She'd visited different barracks and different bases and spoken to a lot of different women and people and interviewed a lot of people, like so much preparation
Yeah.
that we were kind of armed and dangerous. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
But we literally walked into that room and we were like, right, let's start. Where do we
Yeah.
start? How do we start this? And we had nothing. Like we had not one word on a piece of paper. We had nothing. We just had those references of the orgy
Yeah.
stories. And we just started then. We started from scratch and it was hilarious. It was like hilarious, but like also like where are we going? How are we navigating this? Like where do we need to go? Like, and there was so many different like versions of it in the beginning, and we did like a really quick, I think it was like a really quick, not entirely fleshed out version for the first workshop that was like an hour long or something like that. And yeah, I mean, there was like, we tried out different bits. Like there was a scene in a karaoke bar that we were like, what would our karaoke songs be? Like all this different stuff that we look back on and we're like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think what was also amazing at the time, for me in particular, is like, I just lost my nan like 2 months previous. And I kind of got gifted this project as like a little bit of it was one of my first little jobs, like easing my way back into going back
Right.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
to working properly, because it absolutely ruined me. And it was just such a gift to go in, and like, even if I got like emotional or upset, I'd be like, just use it, baby. Like,
Yeah, because
channel it.
crying half that show, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, to be able to like to represent those stories, and the women that we spoke to, like when we came to rehearse the actual show, and we were in York, and we met a lot of the military wives to record with them, and they were telling us their stories, and like, you just can't quite believe what these women have been through. And it's just to be able to represent, I always say this, to be able to represent on that stage is the reason why I do what I do.
Oh, that's cute. That's nice.
Yay.
I suppose the last question kind of here is, do you prefer originating a role or stepping into a pre-existing one? Or would that depend on the role / company?
I think it depends, you know, like, because there's different shows require different kind of approaches. Yeah. I think there's a lot of long-running commercial shows that are like, stand on one, move to 3, do that. No, don't put your arm up. Don't do this. Don't do that. But then it's a big tick off the list as far as bucket list roles go. So like, there are parts like that I would love to play, to be like, tick. That would be a challenge, and I could do that. But equally, I kind of love it when I'm left to my own devices, like a little bit. And I think that's why I'm drawn to the people that I've worked with a lot. Like, I've worked with Nikolai a lot, worked with Debbie a lot, because they just encourage that. And especially with Kinky Boots, like, I feel like I've interpreted my character in a completely different way to how it's been played previous. Like, just from going through my own experiences and speaking to people back home, which is from a very similar community, with very similar views in various different ways. And I think that is the beauty of working with people like Nikolai, is like, you step into a room and they're just like, okay, go, okay, oh, maybe think about that, oh, cool, yeah, great. But I can kind of put my own spin on it. And I think I did that with Kinky Boots. I did that with Billy Elliot, because I obviously played the mum, but I was much younger. And I think, especially with Billy Elliot, actually, I think that is... Billy Elliot, we did the first non-replica version. So we were literally told, you can't do anything like the original. Like, it has to be completely different. So again, we had this beautiful script, we had this beautiful score, but we had Nikolai Foster, who's a bloody genius and plans everything within an inch of his life, like in a PDF, like down to the lighting, down to set, everything is so meticulously planned. But then you get into the room and he kind of puts that to the side and he goes, right, what you got? Okay, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll change that. And I think that was what was so exciting about Billy Elliot, is doing a job that was so iconic and a commercial success, like huge. But we had this opportunity to just completely turn it on its head and just do what we wanted with it. Like, and it was a complete team effort. I think like everybody was cast so well and like worked so well together, and everybody showed up to work, and there was not one person that would come in and be like, oh, we've got 2 shows. Oh, we've got a show. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like, it was like, we get to do this show. Yay. Like, we loved it. And it was a complete labour of love and built from the ground up, and everybody's opinion mattered and was respected. Yeah. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to working with people like that, because I feel like there's a mutual respect there that requires you can have an opinion and it can be listened to and respected. Yeah,
exactly.
And might actually be useful, you know, like, and I think, yeah, I like more of a collaborative effort.
I will say it was weird. Like, when I looked up your CV, obviously, and I saw that you played a mom, I was like, surely she's a bit young for that, like, yet. I mean, you do play a mom in Military Wives as well, but...
I know. Well, I'm in that tricky territory at the minute of like, I don't even want to say. Do you know what is wild? Is I don't want to say my age out loud because like if someone hears it, it might affect. Like people might think I'm younger though, so I might be able to get in for stuff that are younger still because I feel like the skincare is skincaring, but but then like I'm in a weird bracket at the minute. I'm in the middle of brackets, and it's frustrating as hell. So. If I had the opportunity to do Billy Elliot again, I'd obviously like Mrs. Wilkinson is my dream role. And I actually said to Nikolai, when they announced it, I texted Nikolai, I was like, so you're 10 years too early, but if there's anything in it for me, like you just let me know. And he was like, I was actually thinking about you for the moment. I was like, oh.
Okay.
And then I phoned him and I was like, you know, like she's like only on stage a little bit. And beautiful part, like special, love it. Like Billy Elliot is always like in my heart for life. But I said, but I just done Evita, and I think like I was never off stage in Evita, so now it's that thing of like I kind of need to be utilized in some way, and that doesn't mean like I want to be the star of the show all the time. I just need to be utilized and used. So like I said, like if I do the Mum, which like I would love to do. Can I double up and will you like put me in other stuff? He was like, fine.
Yeah.
So that's why I doubled up and I created Jean. Jean is my alter ego.
The all name. Yeah.
Jean, like this is what I mean about like my ensemble track with that started off as this like just like doubling up in an ensemble. By the end of it, I was playing saxophone in like the top of Act 2 and like doing like a saxophone set in like the interval. And just because I offered up a crazy idea to George one day, I was like, oh, if we need a saxophone in this, like a rubbish one, like let me know, I can play a grade 3 saxophone. And he was like, would you want to do it? I'll ask Nikolai. And Nikolai was like, go on then. Ideas spiral. I ended up playing a bloody saxophone set. Like, never picked up a saxophone for like 15 years or something. I'm playing saxophone on the Curve stage. Like, this is what I mean about collaboration. Like, they're so open to no matter, there's no ridiculous idea whenever you work at Curve or whenever you work with Nikolai. He's like, that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm like,
I love that because, like, we are also all adults in the same room as well. You know, I think sometimes in environments like that, it can somehow be a bit of a separation but then when it pairs down to it, it's like there might only be a few years or no years between us, that kind of thing, you know, in that kind of environment. And
we're all trying to achieve the same thing at the end of the day. We're trying to put on a show, like, and we're trying to make it as best as possible, and we're all very valuable working cogs in the machine, on stage or off stage. So this is the end of this first episode, but can I ask, to finish this episode, could we have a rendition of Jenny from the Shop? No! I don't even know how this got. I feel like this came from me. It did come from me, I think, because oh god. Because I used to basically, I think the reason why I was like, what can we call her? She was like, Jen, that's close. I went, all right, Jen. And when I was growing up, my real name is Robinson. So my nickname growing up from a few of my friends was like J-Ro. And I used to say, don't be fooled by the rags. I'm still Jessie from the block, like taking the mic. And then I was like, don't be fooled by the stock that I got. I'm still Jenny from the Shop.
Yes!
And it's just stupid, just ridiculous. It's like Debbie telling me to do it. She's a choir starter, twisted choir star.
Love
the reference
it.
That is stupid.
Brilliant.
Silly.
To finish off though, talking about Jenny, is I saw a TikTok literally yesterday of like this mom and her daughter, and she was like, tell us about like the family slang we have. And basically her mom will be like, can you bring the dog for a Jenny? Because you bring the dog for a walk around the block, so let's bring the dog for a Jenny.
I love that. I love that.
Right. We'll finish.
Crazy.
In the queue. You're okay. So thank you all for watching, and make sure to come back for part 2, and I'll see you the next time on Sidestage with Soph.